Neither let us be slandered from our duty by false accusations against us, nor frightened from it by menaces of destruction to the government, nor of dungeons to ourselves. The prayers of a lover are more imperious than the menaces of the whole world. Any young man who is unmarried at the age of 21 is a menace to the community. Sophistication might be described as the ability to cope gracefully with a situation involving the presence of a formidable menace to one's poise and prestige, such as the butler or the man under the bed, but never the husband. Chatterers are a menace. Blacks, soldiers, and Jews are a menace to the race. America has been a land of dreams, a land where the aspirations of people from countries cluttered with rich, cumbersome, aristocratic, ideological pasts can reach for what once seemed unattainable. Here, they have tried to make dreams come true. Yet now we are threatened by a new and particularly American menace. It is not the menace of class war, of ideology, of poverty, of disease, of illiteracy, or demagoguery, or of tyranny, though these now plague most of the world. It is the menace of unreality. It is possible that the malice of writers has been overrated, by myself among others, reading their ruminations on their craft. One sees why this writer could not possibly like that one, would indeed consider him a menace. Literature is a battleground of conflicting faiths, and nobler passions than envy are involved. I haven't seen Clones, which has been during this period when I haven't seen much of anything. But I did see Phantom Menace and see my feelings about it. First of all, I think that when you make a lot of movies, your attitude about the movies changes. I've worked with very few that I considered unpleasant. Dennis, the Menace, was a joy to work on. I refer, of course, to the debts our nation has amassed for itself over decades of indulgence. It is the new Red Menace, this time consisting of ink. We can debate its origins endlessly and search for villains on ideological grounds, but the reality is pure arithmetic. Bath twice a day to be really clean, once a day to be passably clean, once a week to avoid being a public menace. Skiers view snowboarders as a menace. Snowboarders view skiers as Elmer Fudd. It is impossible to communicate to people who have not experienced it the undefinable menace of total rationalism. No doubt concentration camps were a means, a menace used to keep order. The city has become a serious menace to our civilization. It has a peculiar attraction for the immigrant. Dennis, the Menace was probably the most realistic comic book ever done. No space aliens ever invaded. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. The great defense against aerial menace is to attack the enemy's aircraft as near as possible to their point of departure. It is beyond dispute that Saddam Hussein is a menace. Our growing softness, our increasing lack of physical fitness, is a menace to our security. Competition in armament, both land and naval, is not only a terrible burden upon the people, but I believe it to be one of the greatest menaces to the peace of the world. Taxation is just a sophisticated way of demanding money with menaces. But the greatest menace to our civilization today is the conflict between giant, organized systems of self-righteousness, each system only too delighted to find that the other is wicked, each only too glad that the sins give it the pretext for still deeper hatred and animosity. I refer to the debt, the new red menace, this time consisting of ink. The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. You can't stop change any more than you can stop the suns from setting. The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. I have learned to live each day as it comes, and not to borrow trouble by dreading tomorrow. The function of education, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But education which stops with efficiency may prove the greatest menace to society. The most dangerous criminal may be the man gifted with reason, but with no morals. What does your heart tell you? Now, be brave and don't look back. Don't look back. May the Force be with you. Americans need to understand that they have lost their country. The rest of the world needs to recognize that Washington is not merely the most complete police state since Stalinism, but also a threat to the entire world. The hubris and arrogance of Washington, combined with Washington's huge supply of weapons of mass destruction, make Washington the greatest threat that has ever existed to all life on the planet. Washington is the enemy of all humanity. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The whole aim of practical politics is to keep the populace alarmed and hence clamorous to be led to safety by menacing it with an endless series of hobgoblins, all of them imaginary. I hope I shall never be deterred from detecting what I think a cheat by the menaces of a ruffian. A fashion plate, a rock star in his own mind. Megamind is more showman than deadly menace. I hereby accuse the North American Empire of being the biggest menace to our planet. My two biggest influences are Archie Comics and Dennis the Menace. The working men have perceived that women are in the field of industry to stay, and they see, too, that there cannot be two standards of work and wages for any trade without constant menace to the highest standard. The judge said I was a menace to society because I had put crime on a scientific basis. The great menace to the life of an industry is industrial self-complacency. Communism is a hateful thing and a menace to peace and organized government. Law not served by power is an illusion, but power not ruled by law is a menace which our nuclear age cannot afford. The industry is a menace to artists. The Soviet Union has indeed been our greatest menace, not so much because of what it has done, but because of the excuses it has provided us for our own failures. Violent means will give violent Swaraj. That would be a menace to the world and to India herself. I cannot help thinking that the menace of hell makes as many devils as the severe penal codes of inhuman humanity make villains.